What is up, everybody?
How's it going, everyone?
Welcome back to another video here on Let's Talk Resident Evil, talking about some hefty Resident Evil 9 news for you guys and gals out there. This
Definitely
is
a doozy.
this is this is from Stevivor.com from Steve Wright, and he talked to one of the producers, and he is diving into a little more details about the demo, about Leon. So let's dive right into this and waste no time. He asks about Leon right off the bat, actually. He says, can we talk about Leon S. Kennedy? His inclusion in Requiem has been rumored or leaked for some time now. I do respect him for just flat out asking him straight up.
And that's, you're not going to get these kind of questions from an IGN because they have like certain buttons they don't like to push.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised like if somebody like this who does ask the hard-hitting questions doesn't get another interview because they don't typically like questions like these that are very straight up. That's why you don't hear a lot of them.
Yeah, that's very true.
And we'll just refer to him as Steve.
Yeah,
like Steve Wright.
Steve Wright.
Steve and Misato.
Yeah, so Misato says, apart from any official information that Capcom has released, the rest is more detective work on the part of the players. So I would suggest to please not take everything at face value, he says. Considering that now is the time when AI can be used to make videos and photos, we don't know what's right or what's wrong. It's just that players are free to believe that they would like to believe what they would like to believe. Sorry. What I like to tell is that, please, unless it's officially released from Capcom, we can't give you any confirmation.
Yes.
There's been a photo lately of Leon with an eye patch and just basically saying there's a DLC or a new costume for Leon. But just to make sure, these are all fake news.
Yes. So this is not Masato Kumazawa saying Leon's not in the game.
Right.
This is him saying the eye patch Leon and that screenshot that was floating around about Leon having a costume in, I believe it was the Portugal version, the Portugal listing on PlayStation.
Yes.
They were fake. And that's something that we warned about. We already talked about that before on the channel.
It's very easy for that
very
to happen.
easy for it to happen.
Yeah.
So we weren't 100% sure. We kind of was just like, it wouldn't be the first time something like that was leaked that was turned out to be true.
Right.
But because it has happened in the past, it's easy for somebody to go, I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
It'll be funny to twist the internet with this one.
Yeah. So it's, again, like you said, it's not a complete, no. They're going to say what they're going to say, and they're going to keep Leon, if he is in the game, if he is at all, they're going to keep that until they want to release it.
Yeah, he basically just says, until you hear us say Leon S. Kennedy is in the game,
don't believe it.
Don't believe it.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not we can infer that he's in the game because of things that are leading up to it, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think he's in the game? I think it's a pretty good chance that he ends up in the game, but does that mean he'll be in the base game necessarily? We don't know, and that's what we've always been saying on these videos. You don't know until Capcom says it.
Yes.
It's not like we have leaked physical assets at a GameStop or a Walmart or something.
No, we don't.
We just don't know.
No, exactly, and everything's speculating at this point. So, and what do I say all the time? And, me and John say it too on the shows. It's like, don't believe every single leak because sometimes you'll end up getting disappointed, right? So
yeah.
So this
always take them with a grain of salt.
Take them with a grain of salt.
Say.
Exactly. So moving on here, it says, I understand that Grace was chosen. This is Steve asking this. I understand that Grace was chosen as the protagonist for her vulnerability. Did the team draw inspiration for her from the likes of Claire or Rebecca Chambers? Or is she different or unique in personality? This is another good question.
Yeah.
Because this is a new game, we were trying to get new types of horror. We thought that because Grace, being a little bit more scared than the other characters, would be able to give a new type of scare and experience when compared to the other characters like Claire or Rebecca. So that's, kind of what we already know.
Doesn't answer the question at all.
Doesn't really answer the question.
They're basically, it's kind of like a very PR answer that just says, no. They're trying not to credit Claire and Rebecca as inspirations, even if they're going to end up being a similar archetype or a similar character, have similarities. They probably said, okay, let's create a character from scratch without looking at our other characters. And the odds is that if she does seem like one of them, it's coincidence.
Yeah.
And that's because they made good characters in the past. So in order to make another good character, you might have some overlap.
Right. Yeah, there's going to be those parallels, right?
Yeah,
Like
just
you
like
said.
how Piers is like a Chris, like
Right.
an older Chris.
That was almost like the passing of the torch.
Exactly,
Almost. Yeah, right? They
We don't
tried
really
to.
have anybody that's like Leon yet, or Ada,
No.
or Jill. So, you know, Ethan was a very original character in terms of like what his concept was supposed to be.
Kind of being your everyday guy that ended up getting thrown further into and eventually infected, right? And
Ethan honestly is most like the Outbreak characters.
Yeah.
Because he's just a guy in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yep. And then by Village, he's tacked out, right? He's tactical. He knows a lot
And he
more.
was the first character that we ever had played as in a mainline game that wasn't with some type of formal training.
You're correct. Part of the
Other
team.
than, I guess, Claire, she was trained by Chris, which isn't really formal training.
Yeah, she kind of, her training was like Raccoon City. That was like really, besides what she grew up.
Zero.
Yeah. Do you want to take away this next thing? Speaking of RE7.
Yeah, so Steve says RE7 made the bold choice to go into first-person mode, and while Village retained that, it also later provided an option to play in third person, as will Requiem from launch. Can you take me through Capcom's decision to first switch to first person and later to allow the choice of that or third person?
Cool. And so, yeah, he says, so what happened is when we released the third person perspective in Village, we had lots of feedback. We had a lot more feedback than expected from the players. And what we thought is when with Requiem, I thought to myself, well, I want to let players choose which one they prefer. That was it. So they can enjoy the game in their own way that they like. One of the most important pieces of feedback that we got from RE7 was that the game was a little bit too scary, which is what we talked about before.
Yeah.
So I thought in order to lessen the experience, we added an option for having third-person perspective to sort of ease the horror.
This is what they've been saying, Anthony.
This is what they've been saying, but I don't know if like RE7 was too scary for people. I don't know, because if that was also the reason to tone down, like, you know, your nemesis, your stuff like that in RE3 remake specifically is what I'm referencing. That sucks because
Mr. X was too scary.
Mr. X was too scary too, is what they said in the past. You're right. So if Baker's too scary or 7's too scary, 2 remakes too scary, and then you gimp 3 remake, where's the balance there, right?
And at what point is your horror game not supposed to be scary?
Yeah, like,
you know, that's where I'm at.
I don't know. It's just a very weird thing to say. I mean, isn't the point to make it scary? You know what I mean? I don't know, because RE7 was trying to, it was trying to go back to, you know, simple, more straightforward game design. So, you know, I don't see why.
It was a soft reboot.
Right, it was a soft reboot, but like why
it's called Resident Evil Biohazard.
Exactly.
Or Biohazard Resident Evil.
Yeah, and we've said that for years, and people, you know, they get it now. Maybe back then it wasn't as clear. But now that we see in retrospect, they were trying to kind of, you know, kind of make it in its own lane away from what we had with RE6. So, you know, but yeah, as far as the perspective, it's still cool that we have both options, like we said before in past videos. So I obviously don't disagree with this as far as the perspective, but as far as like RE7 being too scary, we had to tone it back. I don't necessarily agree with that.
No.
But
I just think this is a very, very strange, just like, I don't know what's going on here. And they need to figure it out, because I don't think third person is inherently less scary than first person.
I don't think so either.
No, I actually think in some ways third person can provide you with more scary things than first person.
Yeah.
For example, and this will be the only mention of it, because I don't want to get harping on this for too long, but Nemesis is scarier in RE3 Nemesis.
Yes.
Because you can see him running after you.
Literally into the camera. Like coming into the frame.
Yeah.
Like
you can see him as you're running from him, you see him closing the gap.
Yeah.
Whereas in over the shoulder, even, or first person, they have to do things to get him in front of you in order for you to see the scare. So him just jumping all of a sudden, sometimes it depends. They're both different. They're both different scary.
Yep.
You have your tension, you have your surprise, and then you have your dread, or your terror, or your inevitability. And Nemesis was all of those things in the original, and he was a downstep in the remake.
Yeah, it really was. And I think, that brings up a good point. And I think, this is going to be very interesting to see what those differences are once we actually play it. And he actually talks about right now, he's asking him, what mode, first or third person, do you prefer?
And why?
And why, yeah. And he says, I prefer third person perspective, but this is more because I can see the character and I can see what the character is seeing and feel how the character's feeling as well. This is a Japanese translation, so sorry if this seems a little awkward. You could tell this is like from what he's saying in Japanese. So it's a little bit different than how we would explain things. He says, we could both feel the same emotion. And by the way, the director Koshi Nakanishi prefers the first person perspective, but that's for him to immerse
himself.
Right. So by having both, I like how players can enjoy both perspectives.
Yeah, and that's pretty solidly on the point, right?
Yeah.
Like we've been saying this since the beginning, especially with Ethan. First person is good for self-immersion. Third person is really good for relating and connecting to the character that you're playing as.
Yeah, and it gives, it's interesting too that like Village was, like the Village DLC feedback with the third person when the gold edition was kind of what sparked this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Which, that's why everything happens for a reason. You want to read this one?
Yeah, Steve says, I'm 43, so I grew up on the original RE trilogy alongside Outbreak and File 2, and am very familiar with both Raccoon City and Alyssa Ashcroft. However, those who've got to know Raccoon City through RE2 and RE3 remakes might not be familiar with Alyssa, even though she was referenced in RE7. How important is a knowledge of Outbreak in this game? And their response is, well, I just want to say not at all. We make sure that players who didn't play Outbreak and players who have played Outbreak will both be able to enjoy the game as much as they can. The reason why we chose Alyssa was just because she was a victim of Raccoon City incident. She had a clear aim, a clear motive, and so she was just very easy to introduce in this scenario. Something we have been saying for a long time, even off camera.
Yes.
Especially with our friend Dustin. Alyssa is one of the better characters in Outbreak. She has more of like a unique role. Like with Kevin, you have Leon already.
Yes.
And Jill and Chris and all them, right? Like, but Kevin's literally just supposed to be like, it's interesting because Kevin doesn't have a desk.
But
he should because
works
he's wearing
there.
the same the outfit as Leon in the original, right?
And he works
so he was
there.
going to be the same
in the same
department,
Yeah,
and he
same
had failed the
department.
S.T.A.R.S test and all that. That's deeper lore, but
Yeah.
Kevin you already have a Leon. Cindy's just like a waitress.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting that for the first time since Ben, we actually got to take control of a reporter and see like what that was like. Because in a world of bioterror where news is everything,
Yeah.
having a character that was like that was very new at the time. It wasn't something we really had seen before. And she was one of the characters that you could kind of tell Capcom really liked more than the others. So
They
to
put a
speak.
little more effort on that. And that's the thing too, like we even said that they're probably not going to make it lean so heavily that you have to know what's going on in Outbreak to play this game. They want to obviously appeal to people that don't even know what Outbreak is, might not ever even play it.
Yeah.
But that's why we do the lore videos or we talk about stuff in like our last video where we talk about the connection, just so you know, because I feel like even though he's not saying it here, our theory of daylight and stuff like that playing a role, that could still play a role, even if it's not like you have, because they can just explain it in the game. You don't have to necessarily play Outbreak for her to read a file and be like,
For sure.
wait, she was cured and this and that, like they can.
That might be in the folder behind the picture.
Exactly. That's what
We
we're
don't know.
anticipating. It could be something else. It could be a bunch of other things, but you don't need to play Outbreak. But it's cool that he brought it up. I'm happy because, again, they've talked about Outbreak in interviews, but like this guy's asking a little more specific questions that I like. So I really do enjoy that. He says, and on that note, how important is Outbreak File 1 and 2 in the larger celebration of the 30th anniversary? That's a pretty good question. He says, I mean, first of all, I just wanted to say that as the first online titles, these are important parts of the RE history. And also the story involved in those games. They're very important. We treasure them very much. It's a very important part of the franchise.
It is so... all I'm going to say about this is it is very possible that this game started as Outbreak Remake. Because we already know that it was going to be an online multiplayer experience.
Open world, yep.
They definitely would have already been working on assets, so maybe that's reason why Alyssa was chosen.
Mm-hmm. And they said it's an important part of the franchise.
So if it comes out that it was, don't be surprised.
Yeah,
That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, don't be surprised. I agree.
Returning to Raccoon City is huge for longtime fans. I consider Raccoon City as much of a character as Leon or Claire. How did your team approach this reunion? And they replied, it's lots of pressure to revisit a location from 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
For most of us, actually, we wanted to know what actually happened to Raccoon City as well. So it's an honor to be making and creating this story of the city.
Yeah, I mean, it does take some balls to go back and try to explain all this shit.
Yeah.
And they said that they were hesitant to do that in another interview that we talked about on a podcast a few months ago. So, you know, it's cool that they are going back for it. But again, it's a big ask when you have so much lore and ground to cover. What do you keep canon? What do you keep not canon? What do you change, you know? And obviously they're changing the fact that, you know, the impact left this, you know, rubble, this remnants there that is going back to the RPD, going back to old locations. We don't know how much more locations we go to as far as like beyond RPD and above. Yeah, I mean, it's I do agree. Like it is as big of a character as your Leons, your Claires, Chris, Jill. Like it is a character in and of itself. And take it away with this last question here.
This is a big one.
This is a big one. This will start our whole rant here in a second.
RE7's beginning hour demo was a game changer. As a lifelong fan, I was amazed that I got to jump in and see what I could expect from the next big release. But in a way, that was unique and different from just a slice from the game itself. Can we expect something similar for Requiem? So the question is asking if we were going to get like a maiden demo, something that's not a slice of the game. And their answer is, so in terms of a demo play, we actually have no plans for one for the general public at the stage. None at all. Our development team is just doing its best to make sure that it's creating the best quality game, to make sure that it's a fine product.
So my opinion on this whole thing is I think you're shooting yourselves in the foot with the marketing big time because people were already not feeling it with what we got to see from the trailer. You know, and obviously we don't think that the trailers were specifically bad or anything like that. But I just think that it's a bad look when, you know, you've had demos for all this stuff. You know, you've had demos for, you know, all the RE engine stuff, of course, even before that. And I just don't really think it sits well when, you know, you're pretty much saying, hey, yeah, we have a demo. It's ready. It's done. People played it. We got people's feedback, but you're not going to see it because we're going to try to focus on finishing the game. It's like, that just seems to me like a very cop-out answer. And this just seems like a very producer, very like full of shit statement when you're just saying this just to say it. It doesn't really back up the, you know, we really feel confident with this game. Mm-hmm. And so I think the biggest thing is it's just proving, like you said, to, you know, why people can get nervous and why people now have a reason to say, hey, they're not letting us play this thing. Even if it was a month before it came out, they've had demos come out a month before, you know, your Resident Evil 2s, your Resident Evil 3 remakes. Like, they've had demos for that. So I just think that it's a very cop-out answer, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense that you would even give it to people anyway in the first place if you weren't confident about it. So I just think that this is very disappointing. You're shooting yourselves in the foot with the marketing, and this doesn't make sense, man. Just let us play. It's already done. It's already done. And I know some people are going to say, oh, well, you know, maybe they're afraid people are going to go in and find the files and find this data that's in the game. You know, shout out to Jack in the community. He's a designer, and he literally said, in game design, we literally make a file just for the demo, and there's no extra stuff in there that people can find.
Also, that didn't happen for any of the previous ones.
It didn't. So, and that's why, to prove his point, it's just not the case. So, you know, I just want to say before people might think, oh, you know, maybe this is why. It doesn't really seem like there's a full-on logical explanation other than we're just going to keep it from people that weren't at these conventions. People can chalk it up to, oh, well, you guys are mad you just didn't go. Okay, why?
I'm not mad for us even.
Yeah.
I'm mad
for the community. Yeah, for the community.
I'm just mad for the fan base because you're talking about the same Capcom who went back to an RE2 demo when RE3 was coming out and put a Nemesis Easter egg in the fucking demo.
Yep.
When the entire game was already released. Marketing genius for people to find. They're not even going to give their public, their fans, the millions of people who like this game. Let me tell you something, Capcom. This isn't Resident Evil 2, 3, or 4. This isn't Village where you already have a hit success in 7 to sell it. You are selling this by itself. If people don't want to buy this game because they can't try it or they can't see enough in the game, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be a stinker. It's going to sell terribly.
I know. Even Mugen's here. He can't believe it.
Yeah. Mugen's like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. He's like, no demo for me.
I've been alive for 2 years and this is the shit that I get.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like,
it's not 4. It's
No.
not living the legacy of 4.
No, it's
it
not.
It doesn't have 2 and 3's legacy.
right.
It doesn't have even Village, which we are down on. We're not incredibly fans of Village. Village was still following up what we both recognize is a fantastic video game in Resident Evil 7. It's the end of his story. People want to buy it. People are going to come back. People who don't watch YouTube, don't listen to reviews. They're going to see it. They're going to see, oh, it's Ethan's final chapter. Oh, God, final chapter. Let's not get started on that. But they're going to see something in there to buy. What's there to see here? Outbreak was one of the least sold games of all time for Resident Evil.
Right. We love it, but
People
the
are
public
going to
won't
pick it
know
up
what
and
it
be
is.
like,
Yeah.
Alyssa.
But the marketing is shit this time around. I really don't, you know, and again, we were sticking up for the trailers and saying, hey, look, this looks good. But I can't back up the pre-order. I can't back up this decision. I can't back up this like piss poor like mishandling on this back half of the promotion.
No,
I
we
just
pre-order
can't.
because we're Resident Evil fans. We're going to buy it regardless. We're going to play it regardless.
We collect shit physically.
We collect it physically. I have a physical copy for Steam and PlayStation coming.
Right. This isn't a knock on the game's quality itself. Because we also haven't fucking played it, so we can't even give you an idea of what that would be like. But you should, considering that you have a Capcom not even a Capcom showcase, a Resident Evil showcase slated for the beginning of next year. What are you going to show? Another trailer for walking around the same hallways, looking at the same enemies? Or are you going to actually announce another fucking remake, which is what you should do? That's my theory.
That's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
They're going to announce another remake because this game's marketing is clearly... They must have some type of yearly budget that they had to distribute between the remake that's coming and 9 is the only explanation I can think of as to why we've seen so little. Because none of the excuses that I can think of in my head mattered for any of the other games. Other than, are they scared that if they pull another Lady D... But that's such an easy mistake to avoid.
That's such an easy mistake to avoid.
You just don't show too much of anything. You just show a little bit. What these trailers are lacking is the hype moment. They're lacking the crazy moment. I can't remember off the top of my head all of the Resident Evil trailers, but I'm pretty sure the RE4 trailer showed the El Gigante.
Oh, yeah.
That was the hype moment for that. You know it's in there. It's the big monster everybody remembers.
And they built it up for each, like one trailer showed a little bit, then then they showed more.
And then they showed that obviously you could see like Luis at the bottom with the knife and all that.
Exactly.
Krauser's, they had multiple trailers. All of those trailers felt great. I get this game doesn't have a legacy.
Right. It's not a remake of something. Right.
It's not whatever. But God, man, even Village's trailers were better than this.
Well, the biggest hype that this got was, you know, the first trailer was like, holy shit, it's Raccoon City, it's the RPD. That was like the oh shit moment, right? But we didn't really get anything beyond that point of like,
it's missing.
After that.
It's
something missing. There's a weird
trailer.
Disconnect between the hype. I agree. I just don't...
The trailer that I'm waiting for is the trailer where she says at the end, who are you? And he just looks at her and he smiles and he says, my name is Oswald E. Spencer. And then it cuts to RE9 Requiem.
Right.
That's what's missing. We have no hype like that. Even if it's, because it can't be a villain, like it can't be the big monster.
Right.
People already.
The final form.
And
right?
that's why people are jumping to it's Lisa or it's Spencer or it's Leon's in the game.
Or the stalker enemy's Alyssa,
whatever.
right? Like, yeah, it's her mom.
Or it's her mom, which I think is still the truth. But that's regardless. Like, we're jumping to all these things because there's nothing to latch onto. So I don't think anybody's theory is necessarily stupid, right? Like, I don't agree with every theory.
Right.
I don't
They're just theories at the end of the day.
They're just theories at the end of the day, but I don't blame anybody for jumping to conclusions or trying to make this game seem more hype than it is, because, like, they haven't really given us a reason to care. If I'm not a Resident Evil fan, why the fuck would I care about this game?
No, that's a good point.
Like, honestly, like if you're in the chat right now, you're watching this video, and Resident Evil is a video game that you enjoy, but you don't buy them all, or you wait for a sale or whatever, can you honestly tell me, without saying all their other games were great, so I'm going to give it a try, can you honestly tell me something you're excited for about this game? Because I promise you, if you're a casual fan, it's not that Alyssa's from Outbreak. Because you didn't play Outbreak, let's be honest.
No.
Or you booted up an emulator since she was revealed and tried playing it. But let's be honest. What are you excited for? I don't know.
Yeah. I
guarantee you at the Game Awards it doesn't win most
Oh no.
What the fuck's it called?
Anticipated?
Most anticipated.
Yeah.
Even though GTA 6 is there, which was delayed again, but even though that's there, which I also think shouldn't be allowed to win multiple years in a row, but that's besides the point.
Oh yeah, the Keeley Awards are fucked anyway.
I know.
But yeah.
But I guarantee you it's not going to win because the only people who care about this game right now, I feel like, are us. Are we in a vacuum? Yes. Are we in a bubble? Yes.
We're in a
Resident
niche.
Evil
yes,
channel.
We get it.
We're a niche. You guys watching this, you're in our bubble too. So I understand that we all care.
That's why we're passionate right now, because we're just like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like,
I want everybody that's watching this video to have a demo in January.
Yeah.
Now their cop out here is they say at this time. So they could hear the backlash to this and be like, fuck it, put the demo out in January.
Yeah, the demo you already have finished.
But what did we learn about Xbox and PlayStation right before PlayStation 4 and Xbox One came out? Just because they didn't do it, the DRM shit, doesn't mean you can't hold them accountable for the fault.
Right.
So they really need to be careful with this. And if I was them, I would just come out and make him take a fall and be like, oh, I misspoke.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know we were having a demo, but we are having it. The demo will be available, and put that shit out in January.
Right, because the other theory is that this guy could just be saying this and they want to surprise people in January, right?
Yeah,
like that's still possible, but why would you go back and add no demo for the general public? Like you went back and like as an addendum and added it. So it's like that doesn't sound good.
Feel more
definitive. Yeah. So I don't know, guys. I agree with John. Me and John are on the same page because we literally said this in our podcast. If they did this, it'd be a fucking cheap shot. And
it would be.
It backs up the people that don't like the trailer, don't like what they see, are scared to play it, don't want to buy it right away, might wait for us to stream it on day one to pick it up.
Yeah.
You have people more hesitant now. And that's not what you're supposed to people lean into it fully. I'm there day one, beginning of the year. There's not a lot of games coming out. I want to buy this, right? Like you should be letting these people have those vibes going into this game instead of like, I don't know. Oh, they're not giving us the demo. Now this causes a whole discussion around the internet. And
not to mention, you're launching your game on a national holiday, which is Pokemon Day. Like, it really is. The number of views and shit Pokemon gets on that day when they always have their little press conference and their little video and everything. Your launch trailer, like, yeah, there's going to be people who don't care about Nintendo. That's a niche, too. Pokemon is beyond the niche.
Yeah.
But you're also going against that, and your 30th anniversary is looking schmucked. I'm going to be honest. Like, Remake 1 better be happening, or 0, or something.
Yeah, that's why I think the showcase...
Because if we don't get another game announcement, what are they doing?
Especially at the showcase, that's not a Capcom showcase, not a State of Play. It's a Resident Evil specific showcase, which we haven't had in a few years. And that's why I just don't understand how they're going to handle this 30th year. You know, like, it's got to be handled better than this. RE9 marketing has to be better than this. And that's all I got to say.
This is the first time. Now, granted, devil's advocate, this is the first time they really fumbled the bag in terms of marketing before release.
Agreed.
Village was fine until we found out that most of the marketing was just the first quarter of the game, and Lady D didn't play as big of a role as we thought she was going to play.
Well, that's what people's argument with this. They're saying you're just showing us this hospital, and that's it. We've just seen the same hallways, the same red door, the same this, the same that. And so it's just it's a little strange, and that's why people now are thinking that they're hesitant to show us more.
To be honest with you, and maybe we could do this for a video. Maybe we'll talk about, I'm not going to say the whole concept off screen, but I'd be interested in knowing how many rooms we've seen for Resident Evil 9. Because you know damn well you're probably not going to be playing. Well, maybe you'll get up off from your desk and walk to Dempsey's office.
Yeah, maybe.
In the FBI.
Yeah.
But we've seen that. We've seen the room where he's sitting down. We've seen his desk, which is obviously his office.
We've seen the
main lobby,
the chronic care
in the
center,
hospital, the chronic care center, the hallway. We've seen what was playable, the couple wings.
Yep.
That's like the first floor of the mansion.
Yeah. If that.
if that.
Yeah.
So like, how many is the reason is because we don't have like a giant playing thing, like Devil's Advocate, like I said, like playing it from the other side. We don't want to reveal too much. That's fine, but you already showed the demo. So if the demo's already there, why would you not at least give us that as the precedent of this video?
That's what I was saying in Discord.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what you should be saying, because that's the truth. Like,
it's already there.
It's already there. So fucking give it to the public and let us play it.
The people that don't want to play it won't play it. The people that don't want to look at the trailers for spoilers won't watch the trailers. It's for the people that want to play. Yeah.
We've seen the whole thing. They have recordings of it on the internet.
In full.
They're allowed, like,
not
why
even
would
camera,
you
not
give
even
them?
Yeah, not even like camera pointing at. It's literally in full HD, 4K, whatever you want to. It's there.
And my guess is, if I had to make a guess, and let me know if you agree with me, is because they're scared that the demo is a misrepresentation of what the game actually is, because there's no combat.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing. You're just basically walking and running.
They think it might hurt them more.
They might hurt them more is the only thing I can think of. And my rebuttal to that is, then why did you make that your fucking demo?
Or like this guy asked in this article, why didn't you make a unique demo?
Yeah,
like
a Maiden or a finger demo.
Right.
Which I would have been fine with.
Yeah.
I think unique demos are really cool.
And going back, because it's like, it's the director of Seven, you would have thought that he would have said, oh, I have an idea. Let's do this, demo to hype people up, because if you
that's what
that,
I'm saying. What if the reason why the marketing is subpar is because they're saving their budget for the remake? I don't know how it works. I'm not going to pretend like I work for a Capcom, but I would imagine that each IP is going to have a certain budget.
And this is a mainline, though.
You have Pragmata coming. You have
Onimusha.
Street Fighter. Onimusha's coming. Like, is Nine suffering from marketing with the idea that maybe it outlives it because the actual release is going to be so good? The game's going to be so good. Because don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean we're not going to get the game and we're going to love the fuck out of it.
Right.
Like, it's got we
like what we've seen.
Yeah,
we want to
like
be clear, because some people,
some of the decisions are just confusing.
Because some people that might not like what they've seen and agree with us with our last statement might be like, see, like, this is why I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
That's fine. Look, you're entitled to your own opinion. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, are they not showing us this because they're scared, right? And this fuels that argument. This fuels that fire. So I don't know, man. But we had to go on a big rant here because, again, Mugen's even here joining us, and
Mugen's trying to calm me down. He's upset. He's like, "Why are you yelling?"
Yeah.
Why are you yelling? Look.
So yeah, I don't know why it's come down to this, and this late in the marketing too. Not that it's late, it's still November.
No, I mean, it's 3 months away.
But if
we're almost 3 months exactly.
Yeah, the year's almost done. So
believe it or not, we are 90 days, just above 90 days away.
Yesterday was 100, so we're 99 days as of this recording away from Requiem. And so it's insane. Right?
And I know, here's another thing I want to address real quick before we get out of here. Thumbs up for the cat. This video is brought to you by absolutely no one because we don't have a sponsor.
Right, just Mugen.
Just Mugen.
M-U-G-E-N.
Yep, M-U-G-E-N, like the fighting game.
Yep.
Some people in our Discord were talking about how they think this game is going to get delayed. And I just wanted to say it would be unprecedented because Capcom historically does not delay.
No.
They'll launch that bitch fucking broken as hell before they'll delay it.
Especially when they have a numbered date. Like Pragmata, they threw a loose date a year and then that got delayed.
Yeah,
and
they delayed Pragmata.
But never when it's a numbered date. They typically, in recent years, have always delivered. And I think that's their plan because they got to meet their first quarter goals. At this point, you can't just say, we're going to have something in the first quarter. Oh, we're going to delay it. And then you're not hitting a certain financial, revenue hit.
And they did delay Pragmata.
They did for 2 years.
For 2 years. And some people will point to that and be like, well, Capcom has delayed. Look at Pragmata.
That's what I was just saying.
Yeah, exactly. And my rebuttal to that is, well, that doesn't mean it's unprecedented because that's an outlier. And sometimes with statistics, you have to look at outliers. If you go back all the way to the beginning, I can't think of any. Obviously, the Google ninjas they're type right now if you want, like the flash drive that I had to prove people wrong in the comments. But like, you can go and look. I would be hard pressed to say of all time significant delays, other than like certain regions or ports or something stupid like that. Capcom's probably delayed less than 10 titles over the history of their like 150 plus title release, 200 plus title release. So it's And with Resident Evil especially, there's been basically no delays at all.
Not really, no.
No, because the delays that would have happened were that we ended up getting the Resident Evil 2 and 3 and Code Veronica game.
And Reverse doesn't count before someone says
no,
Reverse
is a spin-off.
That was a fucking multiplayer catastrophe.
That got delayed because they knew that game was not going to last.
Exactly. And that was
Resistance didn't get
and
delayed.
Neobards did that technically, so it wasn't Capcom.
Yeah.
Like, Capcom published it, obviously, with Village and as a multiplayer counterpart, but
Mainline
before people
titles,
jump to that,
mainline titles for all their IPs, I can't remember, other than Pragmata, which is a brand new IP.
And it never had a date release either.
It never
just
had
said
a date
year,
release.
and then they pushed that.
And they pushed it.
Yeah.
So it was it's a delay, but it's not as a precise of a
It wasn't
delay.
close to release.
It's
and then
not
they
a
delayed
GTA
it.
6 delay.
Right.
Where they had multiple dates now.
Yes. That hasn't happened to Capcom, and
they haven't
don't
done
even,
that with mainline in a long time.
Right. Be nice, Mugen. I'm angry.
I'm angry too.
Thanks for watching.
See you next time.